Friday.
Good.
So
Good.
we immediately got started with those as well. And so far it's been, if only for the morning ritual of filling that in together, it's been
Yes.
really great.
Yes. Yes. It's literally a 5 minute exercise. And what's so interesting, you say, why do you do it? Well, remember, if the molecules can only move with your asking, every time we can ask, pray, ask, pray, ask, pray. So by the time I get to whatever number one on the list is, I wrote it the night before, so I prayed before I went to sleep over my 5. I woke up, it's on top of my book, so I pray again over it. On my way to the event, I pray over it. It gets
Yeah,
3 prayers every event, even if it's going to the office supply store.
exactly.
Okay, so now I'm going to really explain the answer to your question of why the 5 and how.
Yeah,
So, and I could read you a beautiful text. So one day I needed to get some repair done in the kitchen. And so Sylvie was there with me and we were doing the sticky note and I was, here's my sticky note for tomorrow. And number 1 is plumber for kitchen. And so I said, now why do I put the plumber on there? And I said, so because I'm going to pray over this plumber. I never met him 3 times before he comes to my house. I'm going to pray that he has a great experience. I'm going to pray that I have a great experience. I'm going to pray that we impact each other's lives in a huge way. I'm going to pray that it's the best plumber I ever had. I'm going to pray that he does everything in my house that I need repaired. Even though he's a plumber, he's going to fix my kitchen rack for my stove. So it's just, and his life's going to be blessed and my life's going to be blessed. And so I gave him a book after he was there complaining, doing all my list. He says to Sylvie, I've never seen anybody have such a list for one guy to do. So he took me out 3 hours. I paid him for 3 hours. He fixed all the bathrooms. He did everything. And then he texted us back the next day and he said, I have never met such humble people as the 2 of you. Thank you for existing on this earth.
wow.
Okay. So it's just a plumber. I picked him out of the phone book, right? And at random. So because I put him on my sticky note and I had so much 10-star experience prayer over him, his life, he wrote more than one text. He said, I read the book Between Customers after I left your house. And he said, I went to bed contemplating the book, and he can hardly type good English. And he said, and I woke up in total gratitude. Thank you for your existence on this earth. So can you imagine what you can
Cool.
do to one little experience if we just pray over it or put it on a sticky note or say it's going to be a 10-star experience? And so, I mean, isn't that just magical?
It is, and I notice it that merely the fact of writing it down, it
Uh-huh.
triggers you to choose the right words, and that's
Yeah.
already the first step towards starting to visualize about what it is that you really want. And the more you think back of it and repeat it, the more and there's also a physical aspect to it. Of course, you tell your conscious brain what you want, and it starts to look in the archive of everything it's ever experienced for good ideas, new connections. And I find that they also come to awareness much faster when you're
Yeah.
very clear about what it is that you're after.
Yes. So clarity is everything. And clarity helps you have absolute confidence. So clarity and confidence is how God creates everything. And when we become like Jesus, we would have clarity and confidence. And because we have the power of the pen, we can help get our clarity by crossing things out, writing it 3
Yeah.
times, editing it, whatever it is. So
Yeah.
the sticky note just becomes something that's so simple that anybody can take this little thing and I say, okay, write something. Okay, I can write something on this little thing, right?
Yeah.
Because to hand them a workbook when you first start might be, whoa, that's a lot. But a little teeny sticky note, like even children, can change and script their life. And so the amount of miracles, and you can see the asking of just one kid were in the room. Look at how much asking is going on in the back of a door for just one. I have 3 kids, and me and my husband. Can you imagine how much asking goes out of this house?
Yeah.
So when you understand asking, everything, it makes sense that you take one extra moment in the nighttime in the morning to ask.
Yeah.
And then and then really pray over the people involved in your asking. And so I really pray over every merchant who sells me a new folder. So before I get to the office supply store, of course I write what I'm gonna, but I pray over the merchant, I pray over the store, I pray over the goodness, I pray over the price. So I went and prayed over my purchase of some folders yesterday. And I pray the night before, and I pray on the way, and I pray in the parking lot, I pray after I'm done in the parking lot. And so I walked in there and I bought $44 worth of folders. I had $37 credit. I walked out with an $11 bill. I also prayed that I get a great price before I walk in.
Yeah.
See? So I always pray on the sale, the great price. I always pray on that. That's always a part when I'm shopping. And so I get all these miracle deals. I walked into another store yesterday. It was on my prayer list. And my neighbor runs the store. And one of my salt grinders didn't work anymore. And I prayed that she would just replace it. And she did. And then I said, but I want the second matching one. And it was on sale for half price. So I got 2 shakers for like a quarter of the price, because one was free and one was discount. Yeah. So do you see? I pray over every purchase. I pray because I write it on a sticky note. Going to the store. Okay. So simple. I've got five great that are gonna happen for me, and the people there are gonna be totally blessed. So it's people, places, and things from just a little sticky note. It's a wonder how simple that works, and everybody can do it, and everybody can laugh about it and have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So you in your trainings when you're doing your group, it's kind of fun because it gets people just started. And like I say, even the children, and you can make pretty colors. I hand out a pack of sticky notes. That's how we start any meeting when people have never manifested before. Everybody gets a pack. They write one thing per note. And the idea is you keep writing the whole pack.
Asking is something, I mean, it's like setting goals. It's very closely related. And for many people, it's not a skill that they've developed.
Because we've talked about the genie giving you 3 wishes, so you quit at 3.
Yeah.
Right, you know? Yeah. And all of a sudden now, your New Year's resolution turns into 3 wishes because of this thing that the universe has created with us, that you can only have 3 wishes.
That's right.
So now you and I can go, here's a whole sticky note pack, and you put one thing on every, so what, there's 35 notes or something in there, and they can have to write. It's beautiful. It really turns out well, so.
Cool.
So use it. Everybody has fun.
Yeah, definitely. It's very easy, very simple.
Very simple, very fun, make colorful. I buy all kind of colorful ones, and I let people pick their favorite color, and then we put them on the back of a door, around a coffee table, or whatever, on your bathroom mirror, around the edge. Yeah,
indeed. Yeah, you keep all of them, also in the days after.
When they come true, then you go into your category, what I call gains, or manifested that it really came true.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason we keep the ones that came true, you can stick them in the back of a notebook, you can put them in an envelope. The idea is at the end of the year, at the end of the quarter, whatever, and you go and see how many miracles you created, you start believing in yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
We want the people to believe in themselves.
Yeah, that's why the section is also on the workbook, of course. And how do you deal with all these other small things that come your way during the day? So in the morning or the day before, you decide which 5 things you want to do. Mm-hmm. And then the next day, I don't know, the phone rings or you receive an email. This needs to be done. That needs to be arranged. Are there situations where that creates a certain form of stress? And if not, how do you stay away from that? Okay.
So basically your 5 are for you. They're your heart little babies. Even if it's going to the grocery store, replacing something, any little thing, going to the gym. And so you make your 5 little things happen for sure. And the gym has to be a half hour. Still, you take an abs class and you can still do something for a half hour. You show up in the parking lot, and that's the part. Remember, the universe is going to give you the 6-pack abs. So basically, you just get yourself there.
Yeah.
So you get yourself there, and it's all right if one of them, if the fifth one is replaced with something that came in during the day, then you just put that on the next day's sticky note. Then you make the thing that came in, you pray over it, and you make it a 5 to 10 star experience. And you just change the fifth one out.
Yeah.
We might have a 5 A and B if we if we have to do that. The idea is we laugh. If it gets more than 5, the 10-star experience starts getting a little bit cloudy.
Yeah, very much. You can either go horizontal or vertical, and
right.
Of course.
So just remember, then you can move something to the next day if it's something that's really urgent that comes up. But vital and urgent are 2 different things. So if something's vital to survival, because urgent is just blah 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 blah, the phone ringing, like you said.
Yeah.
So when people call me, I tell them right out there, the next available time I have to talk to you, to go out to lunch with you, to work professionally with you, whatever it is. And so I always do now a rain check. I no longer will see somebody the same day, even if I have a slot.
Yeah.
The reason is I say I will pray over you. And I understand that when I pray over you the night before, the morning of, and as you come in, it's a different appointment.
Exactly. It's much more valuable.
Drive-by shootings, let's say, that's really not helping anybody. It's not a 10-star experience. It's a ram-it-through experience. And so since I know that we've had lifetimes of ram-it-through experiences, the idea is it's a better experience to have a better experience.
Yeah, definitely. And when you say you pray over an experience, a person, how does that work? How does that prayer look exactly?
So I say, dear God, please bring this wonderful person into my life. Bless them, bless me, bless the universe with their exchange. It's going to be wonderful. These are the parameters. They're all going to be met. The how is up to you. I'm so excited. Wow me. I always say this to God. Wow me with the how.
Wow me, yeah.
Make me laugh. Make me roll on the ground. It's like Charlie Sheen humbling JT.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 2.5 hours of the best comedy that was worth the $100 or whatever I spent to be there, in the show.
Yeah.
This is the best comedy show I've ever had. And so just bring on the most, turn what you think is going to be the weirdest thing into the best thing. And I just welcome that to constantly be, so my daughter, we prayed over, because she's a very quiet person, for school. When she went away to college, she was in the dorms. And so we prayed, she needs her own room. And, so I called the school. How do you get it? You can make a medical note. I'm like, oh, God, you just handle it. So she's supposed to have a roommate, never showed up. Next semester, never showed up. Had a room by herself.
Oh, that's amazing.
Tell her more. It was on sale because I only paid for half the room, but she had the whole room.
Oh, yeah.
So how it happens, remember, is the miracle of God. And so we just say she would love to be having her own facility by herself, her own room, closet, for herself. 2 desks for herself, 2 beds. So when her friends come over, she's got,
Exactly. And I noticed.
So I bought 2 sheet sets and 2 quilts and all that matching. She had the old dorm room that matched. 2 blankets and 2 rugs and everything. And so literally she had the room to herself.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Carissa, you speak a lot about creating your own world and creating your own reality. And you just mentioned one very important thing, and that is asking. Mm-hmm. Can you explain to all of our listeners, what do you mean by it was included in my askings?
All right. So it's very interesting. In the Bible, we use the word, it's been used many times, prayer and petition. And petitioning, when people went before God, went before the power of the universe, they would actually get to the point where they went and they would be in sackcloth or simple clothing, and they would sit quietly. They might be fasting, so that their focus was totally on the moment. They weren't busy preparing dinner. They weren't washing dishes. They were fasting, and they were in a prayer with petitioning. And petitioning is asking. And so the universe molecules, the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen that floats around is free. It's all around us. Water is H2O. The air, we've got the hydrogen floating around. The idea is those molecules come in play. They come in play when a person is asking. So when a human being stands in a consciousness, all molecules around us, we call it where they're influenced. If we're the scientist, if we stand there and we want something to happen, an outcome, we're influencing the experiment. Well, our life is our experiment. And when we have a huge desire, we're influencing these molecules around us. And so when we say asking or petitioning or in supplication, the idea is prayer, petition, and supplication is mentioned over and over in the Bible. The petitioning is the opportunity for us to actually engage in the movement of molecules. So the scientific part of me is here to explain that when a human being is present, you're influencing the experiment, you're influencing your moment, you're influencing your life. So we call it focus. Absolute focus. That's part of what we together have been talking about. When you have that absolute focus, we were just mentioning your eye on the victory versus being in the battle. So when the molecules understand that you have an absolute human focus, so the field is a wonderful explanation, and in it they talk about flipping a coin. And out of 100 flips of the coin, if you keep saying heads, 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 for all 100 flips, 52 or more of the flips will be heads. So it's as simple as going to Vegas, right? If you say, and I did this experiment, if I say I'm going to win, 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 and you go in with that much confidence and your eye is always on the win, you're going to win. So it's just nature. Nature is influenced by human. We're the highest creature. We're God's chosen creation. It's interesting, as the highest creature, we have the most influence on the molecules. So asking, and in the form of knocking 3 times, we talk about speak it, write it down, think the thought. So you think it, you speak it, you write it down. That's a 3-pack asking. And when you're that serious, things happen in the universe. So when I have my children, it was when they were young, it was very cute. They would run by and say, Mom, I'd like this. And then they'd run out the door. And if they never came back, I was like, okay, that was the thought that just came in and ran out the door. It was cute because I'd have clients and I knew they'd get serious when they knock on my door, and they've asked once verbally. So they thought the thought, they asked it, and then they write a little note. And under my door, because they knew they couldn't interrupt the session, they would slip the little written note. And they would sit outside the door. So I know that they're really serious because they're going to stay there until they get an answer. So now they're present, you see. So this is part of our asking, Lanka. When you stay in the moment, they didn't leave my door. They sat on the other side of the door waiting for the note to be answered. For me either to pass another note under the door with an explanation, or they'll sit there till the session is over. So when you get that determined, and you were talking about in business, when you get that determined with your client, if you get that determined with whatever you're doing, the universe says, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to show up. This person's going to sit there outside my door.
Wow.
So when we stay in our asking, when we stay in our vision, when we stay with a focus, like my child sitting out the door, writing the note down, expecting the outcome, not running in one door, out the other. In our lives, we tend to have great big visions that we want to ask for, and then we leave. So what we mean is then we go grocery shopping, and then we go to the gym, and then the phone rings, and then the text goes, and then so we're not in our vision anymore. We're not sitting outside our own door waiting for it to happen. We're so busy being busy that when we say stay in the victory, stay in your dream. So why scientifically, when you make an asking, should you stay in it? And we say for over 1.5 minutes. Why do you stay in it? I'd like to say till it happens. Stay in it because we become the witness. And now again, in the science field, we understand that the molecules do whatever they want. They're on vacation, right? We're asleep. All the air around us is just on vacation. The minute we sit up in bed and gain our consciousness, and we stay with our vision. Today, this is what's the first thing on my agenda. When we stay with it, right, it happens. If your agenda was written and it lays there, it's like the child coming in and out the door. So molecules, when they are witnessed, can form into anything you wish. So when I say to the two of you, we were talking about a client right before we're starting here. When you're going to talk about your clients, you also stay in the game. So, oh, this client is going to be so wonderful when we do this. And now you're visualizing this.
Mm-hmm.
And this client, it's going to be so helpful when we tell them that. And then you're staying in it. And then we're all going to go on a picnic on Saturday together, or out to dinner on Saturday night together. And we're going to get to know each other. Isn't that going to be wonderful? And then we're going to exchange phone numbers. And then we're going to give them these podcasts to listen to. And then we're going to do this with them. And when you start building the dream,
mm-hmm.
and you stay in it, and it can be as ridiculous as, oh, I'm going to go online, I'm going to look up their website, and I'm going to just see what I could envision helping them with. Or I'm going to learn the products they sell. And then I'm going to ask them questions about their products. And then I'm going to do, so you see, when you stay in the dream for more than a minute and a half, because usually it's like, okay, that's it, the client, you give them the phone call, and then you got the next thing on your agenda. When you stay in it, the molecules have to show up. And they have to start doing your dream. So the asking becomes simple. And we talked about this, and you might share, when I first gave you a workbook, and it was a workbook for your asking intentions. Mm-hmm. And you said this to me, Lanka, you said, oh, doing it every day. And it's a 5 or 10 minute process, right? You're like, do we really have to do it every day? And it's fun. And I laughed and I said, well, if you'd really like consistent things to happen for you, exactly as you wish, you would do it every day. And you will do it every day, because the universe likes to be programmed, and it's really only you who can stay in your dream, right? Because it's your dream. So unless you hire somebody and you say, I want your thoughts to just be praying over this one situation. And that's why in the Bible too, the Jewish people would gather the Jews, and they would say, all of you fast and stay in prayer for this weekend while I'm intending this, with this intention. So you can hire people. Sometimes we have an assistant, right? And you say, keep dialing the number till the person answers. Yeah. Now you've hired an assistant to stay in your dream for you. So a human energy where two or more come together. So you can have an assistant, the two of you have each other in your business. So if you're busy on the phone or with a client, Lanka, you could say, Alexander, make this happen, keep working on this, or vice versa. And the same with Sylvia and I. That's why we work as partnership. And when we were learning business training, all of us together, you too saw that it really works well when you got a partner in your business. And that partner then can stay in that client, with that client, or with that vision. If you have to go out to dinner with your spouse, or you have to do this. So staying in the vision becomes one of the most important things that we can do. And because we're human, get a second energy in staying when you have to go to the bathroom, when you have to go shopping, when you have to do your daily life, go in with your kids, or somebody should stay in the vision, stay in the victory. And so our asking becomes so important, because first we have to know what we are asking. And if you journal it, it becomes pretty miraculous when you journal, because number one, you can edit it. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we start saying, how do I even put this on paper? And then you say, oh, this is what I'd like to add to it. So now you're staying in your vision. Oh, why I want this to happen is I have to pay my mortgage. That's why I want this client. So you put that down, right? And then you say, oh, what else I would like is it would be, I so enjoy these people. I love their personality, and they're my neighbors. So you can put that on your why. So you have an asking, and then you make it real, it becomes real when you stay in it. So here, and I use this example, and it's fun that we're filming this. And this is so great, because now Father's Day in America is in June, and it just happened yet again. So a couple of years ago, my children came to me and they said, Mom, it's 11 o'clock at night. I'd like you to give me some money in your car because we want to go buy chocolate. I said, it's 11 o'clock at night. I'm a health food person. What do you mean you want to go buy chocolate at 11 o'clock at night? You want me to give you $20? So I said, why? And their answer was, because tomorrow's Father's Day and Dad likes chocolate chip cookies. And that's the one thing he likes the most for Father's Day. So guess what? With the one explanation of why all the particles and molecules moved, I gave him the car and the $20, right? And they went. Well, it was just, again, it's summertime here. So again, in June, the same thing came up. And they said, Mom, we're going in the middle of the night, to go buy chocolate at the 24-hour store. And so I laughed and I said, yep, tomorrow's Father's Day, right? They said, absolutely, we're baking those cookies. So again, I gave them the $20, right? And they can take the car and go. Now they can drive themselves and they have their own car. The fun was it happened right in front of my eyes again. And the second time it happened, I really didn't have to say why. I knew the why. So the second time, once we've set the platform up to the universe, guess what? The universe knows your why. So the first time when we're giving the why, they were programming the universe. Just as I was speaking of a minute before when we were setting up this podcast and I had to install, the first time I hit it, I wasn't quite sure. And I actually asked you, is that all I have to do is hit the button or hit the link? And you said, yeah, just hit the link and then accept. Lenka said, and then make sure you say accept. So I hit it the first time, right? But I didn't accept it. So do you see it? After the steps are properly taken, then you get the result. So sometimes we've gone almost to the edge, but we haven't jumped in. So when you stay in your dream, when you stay in your vision, when you stay in your asking, you got all the buttons hit, and then this can happen, and we can actually have our meeting together. So the asking and the journaling, and Lenka, I'd like you to explain how it got easier when you did the first little page. Oh, it was a little bit difficult. And then you're saying, do I have to do this every day? And then now it becomes daily, weekly, and pretty soon you're excited to do it, right?
The morning routine becomes one big joy like this, because it's all about being disciplined. The only thing you need in your life is to have the discipline to actually do that and have the faith in the process. So when we talk, Carissa, I mean, for me, it was like I can either listen to someone who obviously has used it and has a huge benefit throughout the whole life, because you are using it every single day, and that's what you also show and teach your clients. So I said, okay, let's just give it a try. And every morning I'm getting into this nice grateful mode, and I am journaling. And suddenly, at the beginning, it seemed like so much work, and where will I get the imagination from? And suddenly there are so many things that I could write on a piece of paper, and most of the time I don't have even enough space. So I just keep writing, and there are not enough lines for me. So I would need actually more lines. And at the end of the day, when I have to look back at what I've achieved, there are so many things, so many little things that I can appreciate. So it taught me so much about how to appreciate small things, how to be more grateful, how to pull myself into, let's say, positive mindset, only because of this very simple morning routine that at first seems huge, and at the end is 10-15 minutes, but you're really focused on what you're creating in your life.
They're so busy saying, I'm going to count the ones that didn't make it. And get discouraged, right?
Yeah.
So it's all right. I say, let them all lie. Don't even look at them again. Just laugh about it and say, so in America, we had our baseball player, Babe Ruth, and this was said many times. He made the most home runs in his day and age, and that was because he also struck out the most of any other player. So the idea is he went up to bat more than anybody else, and he swung that bat more than anybody else. Mm-hmm. So it's okay. Let's let the strikeouts go, because the goal was to make the most home runs. And he did whatever it took to make the most home runs. So it also was that he swung the bat more than anybody else, and he also struck out then more than anybody else. He did get the goal. So focus on the goal. Stay on your target. 100% of the time, stay on the target. So ask, edit your words, be 100% confident that if you stay on your target, you're going to get there. And when you call in the power of the entire universe and you have a second battery or a second charge, I do agree that when you're going into business, find somebody, groom somebody, call on somebody, ask the second person in line. If you have a business and it's only you, close the business for a month and find a partner. And it is just somebody who can be there with the eye on the target with you. The minute you come back with two people, everything shifts, because that's the power of the universe. And Christianity, we understand, why did God make a Trinity, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, and God? Why couldn't it just be one? Because the universe was set up before the beginning of time, and even God listens to the universe that he set up, and that is that molecules move when there's more than one energy or batteries coming together. So I love the example of taking our flashlight out of the kitchen drawer, and our flashlights, most of them need 2 batteries or more. And that light, if you put 1 battery in, that light is not turning on until you put the second, third, fourth batteries in. Then you've got the light, and the newer the batteries are, the more power they have, the shinier the light is, the brighter it shines. So that's one of the realities of this universe, is there's 2 or 3 come together in my name, there I shall be also. That's what the biblical verse says. And that's exactly said for the power of the universe to be harnessed and used. It's so beautiful. It's brilliant when we just do the simple realities of how this place was set up, the playing field that we live on, and we stick within it.
One question that I had is, when did you make that switch from material world to immaterial? When did you decide to completely change the perspective on how you perceive the world? Or was it something that you've always done?
Well, that's a very beautiful question. And for me, I was able to, we all come in with our gifts, like Beethoven could just play the piano at 5. I came in knowing that maybe I'm going to use this word, and it's very true. I like life to be light and easy. And so my little mind said, oh my goodness, what would be the easiest way I could go through this life, where I could have the most fun games? I'm a physical person. My personality is, it's all about having fun. So when other people want to work hard, I looked and said, gosh, I'd like to have fun, easy, light. And so I'm going to take the easiest road possible. And when I realized that God road, the universe road, the power of the cosmos road, gosh, if it's all free, I'm in. And so as a little kid, I was just like, gosh. And then I started saying things like, I would go to a beautiful house with a swimming pool. And I said, boy, I from Wisconsin, where I'm from, it's a lot of winter. So there's very seldom you go to a home with a swimming pool. And I said, boy, this would be nice. I'd like to get in that pool, in the summertime. That sure would be nice. And my aunt said, oh, we're looking at a house. She came over to our house the next day. She said, I'm looking for a house to buy in the neighborhood. And I'm thinking, got my aunt in there. I'd have that swimming pool to swim in, right? And so she said, we really looked at a house and it was very nice. And I said, I know the exact house you've looked at, because now I'm staying in the dream, right? And she bought the house. And I didn't have to go again, right? I pulled the whole universe in. And said, I would like to have myself in that pool. And I can remember when they filled up the pool the first time, it was freezing cold hose water. It wasn't even full yet. I jumped in. I was just saying, I had to live my dream. And I started seeing things that like my neighbors, I heard some noise, and we remember, we make cookies that are beautiful batches, and we also burn a lot of batches. And we've created all of it. So be aware of that. This is still creation power, the burn cookies. It's beautiful. So then one day I heard some noise, and the neighbors behind us, it was late at night, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe there's somebody doing some havoc in their house over there. And the next day I woke up, the neighbors were robbed. Okay, so now there was a thought that I let my dream state go into, and I burned some cookies. This happened just recently, yet again. My children were in a play, and it was Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, middle of the night, and we have very safe neighborhoods here. and I was pulling my husband's car into the parking spot, and I said, I'm going to move because I think that this spot is, and here's this funny shiny word, right? Unsafe. How bizarre. I pull 10 feet away across into the other spot. Friends came to the show, parked in that spot, the first spot, and got their purse taken from their car. I know I'm going to own it because I declared that spot unsafe. Why? That is the only thing ever taken out of that entire parking lot. We've been parking in there for 10 years. Okay? I created the word unsafe. So I watch our minds, right? Watch the creation power of good cookies and the creation power of the other cookies. So now, wow, I go back in. So when you think a funny thought, then you have to go back and say, cancel, 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 like an eraser on the whiteboard. What I really mean is it's all wonderful and great, and we're going to go have a good show. So make sure you go back in when we have goofy thoughts to imprint them with glory and wonder and awesome. So as a child, I played with this back and forth. And then somebody really showed me more about the quantum world. And they proposed this interesting idea. When I got to be about 20, it was so interesting. They said, do you know, this is so interesting. If you say there's only a yes, then there's not a possibility for any energy around you to say no. And I thought, wow, that's bizarre. So I'm going to try it. I made this wonderful example. I was going to my sister's graduation, and I asked this gentleman to join me, a young guy, and he was the nephew of a good friend of mine who was a movie producer. And I went out to lunch that day, the day before the graduation, and I had not heard back from him at all. And his uncle said, oh, my nephew called and he's not coming. And so I said, oh, is that really interesting that he said that? Oh, is it so? And the next day I got all ready. My girlfriend said, come on, the uncle said that he's not going to show up. Why are you getting all ready and waiting till 8 o'clock exactly when you said to pick you? I said, he'll walk up the stairs at 8 o'clock because I've only allowed a yes into the universe. So it's funny because at 8 o'clock, my brother's standing there, my girlfriend's standing there, ready to see what the universe is going to do. And he came up the stairs at 8 o'clock, running up the stairs saying, I'm sorry I was a minute late because I had to get a bigger car because you said your brother's coming with us. And, I only have a 2-seater car. And if your friend and your brother are coming, I had to rent a bigger car. So that really showed me at 21 years old. I was 21 at the time. My little sister just graduated. And I said, wow, isn't that amazing? That is so amazing that the universe shows up with our command. And I started really letting that be. And I played with the universe, and I made goofy things. Oh, this person's gonna just fall in love with me just because I want it for fun. And I'd be sitting in a meeting and they would say, you're so beautiful. They'd stop the meeting. And I'd say, and I'm be really into the meeting. I'm like, oh, that's so distracting. Why is that person saying that? And then goofy things that I remember once he said, even my wife would say, you're so beautiful. And I was very much into a meeting. It was at Nickelodeon. And I was saying, why is this guy going on about this? This is ridiculous. And then I remembered what I thought in the parking lot and what my mind commanded in the parking lot just for fun. I'd say, oh, okay, cancel, cancel, cancel. Let's get on with the meeting. So it was really fun because I saw how I could play with the whole universe and how it all shows up. And the same with you sitting down, right, when we met. So even when I sit down for lunch, I sit with an intention. And let's use a better word. I sit with an absolute focus. So every moment of my life, every hour that I can think through it for just a moment, I go forth with an absolute focus. And when I speak the word with an absolute focus, so it's not just a thought, I actually welcome in. So I probably said out loud to Keith, who was sitting across from me when you two sat next to me, let's leave that beautiful space and wonderful people will sit next to us. All right. So once I spoke it out loud, because I had thought the intention, then I used words and I spoke it out loud, it immediately happened, right? Then you and I met, Lanka. Immediately. Within a moment of declaring that thought, of course, because we were all coming at the same time, that's when you came.
Yes.
And what an interesting thought you said. My husband will so much enjoy you. You met me for 30 seconds. Right? So it's really fun is that in 30 seconds,
Yes.
that the answer was already answered. And more than just, can we sit here, right?
Yeah.
The fact is that you were able to sum up and to second the motion with, oh, my husband's going to so enjoy sitting here next to you. And wow, that declaration is why we're still here this moment, right?
Yeah.
And Alexander, you're still enjoying, right?